Firstly, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. The purpose of this session is just to give you all a really clear understanding, really, of exactly what to expect when you study with us at Learna, what our courses feel like. You'll hear directly from our academic and support teams about what you can expect throughout our journey. So we're going to be covering a few points. The first point we're going to be covering will be what to expect from our postgraduate programs. This is going to be presented by our Director of Medical Education, Dr. Anish Katecha. We'll then discuss how you're going to be supported from your tutor, any feedback, the learning community. That's going to be delivered by our Head of Programme Management, Andrew Stevens, and Dr. Anish Katecha. We're then going to cover the understanding of assessments and grading for you. That will be from our academic registrar, Sarah Younger. We're going to have a live Moodle demo from Andrew. And we're going to cover the admissions process really briefly for you with our Senior Admissions Officer, Melissa Harding, and our Student Recruitment Consultant, Chris Jones. We will then cover our student services area, any support that you will receive. That's going to be from our support manager, Anna. And then some exciting news, which I think some of you know about already. But as a thank you for joining us today, you will be automatically entered into a £500 prize draw towards your course fees as soon as you're accepted. The winner will be announced on the 1st of December. And then additionally to that, we are running our early bird event, which I'm sure you'll all be aware of, which is why you've joined us today. And this early bird event has been running for the month of November, and it allows you to receive a £250 deposit off any PG cert, £500 off your PG dip, and £1,000 off your MSc. So we've got some really good discounts for the month of early bird, which is exciting. So this session is interactive. It is an open session. We've got our chat function available for you, and we've got our teams online to answer any questions at all that you have. So if you can make a little introduction post, you can say your name and what country you're from today, as I'm sure we've got students from all over the world joining us, which is fantastic. We do ask that you keep your camera off and muted, only because it will help with your connection, because sometimes there's a lot of people that will join, so we don't want you to miss out on anything. So before we get started, let's get our first speaker, Dr. Anish Katecha. If you could introduce yourself, please, that would be fantastic.
No worries, thanks so much. Hi everyone, my name is Anish Katecha. I'm a GP by background. I've been a GP for 10 years now, and I'm also the Director of Medical Education here at Learna. Really nice to meet you all. Kath, I'm assuming I'm in line for that £500 prize draw too, because I've logged in.
Sorry, Anish, not for you. No,
okay,
you're not allowed.
That's frustrating. Okay, lovely to meet you all though, and thank you so much for joining. It's really nice to have over 50 already on the call. I'm sure more will join, but actually what's really interesting is the variety we're already seeing. You know, we've got a homeopathy physician, we've got a GP, we've got a health and well-being coach. You know, we've got several people already on the line. I think that's really, in my opinion, a testament to kind of what we do at Learna. I've been given the opportunity to speak to you a little bit about us and about what we really do as an organization, and I think the way I'd like to start it is kind of give you our kind of mission statement, which is really improving global healthcare through medical education. And I think, you know, with a 15-year pedigree in this space, if I'm able to say so myself, I think we do a pretty decent job of that. And it's really nice turning up to graduation events, really, because you kind of get these students that kind of turn up to graduation ceremonies and they sort of say it was difficult, but actually we're better off because of it. And I think, you know, when we think of our real purpose, it's upskilling and delivering a really good education to our students, but really the crux of it is that they can actually deliver you know, really up-to-date, better healthcare in their own areas, you know, whether that's in general practice or whether it's in hospital medicine or whether it's as a health and well-being coach. and depending on where you live too, because obviously the systems look really different. I'm a GP in sunny South Wales. I can say it's sunny today. It's not often in South Wales. That's why I say that for those of you around the globe. But that's kind of what we do. And I think it's really important for all of you to really understand how our programs really work. So that's kind of our purpose, and that's kind of why we exist as an organization. But as a GP, and I think this is really important. As a GP, I often, don't know things at times. You can't, as a healthcare professional, you'll all understand you can't know everything all the time. And our programs and the way we deliver our programs, their essence is for actually not to literally be taught. It's actually to understand that in healthcare, or other times, we have to go and find the information ourselves. We have to work with our peers. We have to work with those around us to continue that learning process. We have to continually reflect on kind of what we know, how we're implementing that in practice, what we don't know, and what we now need to go and learn. And so I think our programs are designed specifically with that in mind. We also produce programs that are written and produced and generated by healthcare professionals for healthcare professionals, and I think that's a real USP for us too, because again, as a GP, I understand, because I've got a professional life, I've got a personal life with a relatively young family at home, and I understand the nuances of being really, really busy. I completely understand that, and I think our programs are genuinely cater for the target audience, and so we don't expect people to be online at a certain time. We purposefully don't do that. We don't sort of say, you got to lecture at 2 p.m. because that's okay for me sometimes if I'm in a break in my working day, but actually for someone that's sort of 6 hours ahead, that might not be an opportune time. So actually, by design, our programs are flexible. They're all online, and they're all delivered asynchronously. And I'll take you through sort of our assessment methods, because I think that will hopefully help you sort of visualize our programs. So our programs are delivered with, on the whole, and I'll speak to the majority of our programs. There are some nuances with certain programs, but we in essence have 4 assessment methods typically. We have an academic forum, and that's worth 40% of people's mark. And the academic forum is a really rich online forum where you will be presented with usually clinical cases, if applicable. They're not always, but usually you'll have clinical cases, and we will prompt a cohort of students that are going through that program in really open-ended questions that really allow you to bring evidence and share your experiences as to how you might investigate that patient, how you might manage that patient. And that conversation, that's asynchronous. So you come in kind of when suits you, in your timetable that day or the day after. That conversation is facilitated by a tutor. And the tutors, they're our tutors. We have them in those forums, and the idea of the tutors is to facilitate and mentor the cohort of students going through that week or that module. And so those tutors are subject matter experts. They've got good subject knowledge on that module, and so they'll be in that forum again asynchronously. But say you've got 10 students in that forum, where you'll all share your own experiences, you'll all bring evidence to answer the questions, learning from each other. The tutor will then come in and say, look, Mary, that's really, really good. It's a good point, but Drew's made a really interesting point based on that paper. What do the rest of you think about that paper that's been presented? And actually, are you able to implement that in your own areas of practice, or actually are there barriers? So it becomes a really rich discussion to which all the students contribute to and take away from. So that's the academic forum. That's kind of worth 40% of people's mark. You've then got a reflective journal. which is worth 10% of the mark of that module. And that's really where you're reflecting upon what you're learning, how you're implementing it into your practice, but also what you now need to go and learn. And as a healthcare professional, I'm constantly reflecting. I'm hoping all of you are too, because I think it's a really important way to continue to develop in your professional career. So reflective journal, 10% of the mark. So 10% of the mark comes from reflecting, which is what you should be doing anyway in your day-to-day careers. 20% comes from a module activity, really interesting, and I get really excited about this, which is where we try and develop your postgraduate skills. So, for example, develop a poster as if you were going to present at a national conference on menopause, for example, or design a narrated presentation on how how to counsel people that are looking to start tirzepatide for weight management, for example, or produce a patient information leaflet or a blog. Or, really interestingly, if you were to become a key opinion leader in this space, how might you use social media, for example, to your advantage of becoming I say an influencer loosely for a minute, but an influencer in this space to increase your authority in that topic. So they're there to see whether we can really develop you in terms of leadership and that sort of thing. So really exciting module activity. That's 20% of the marks. And then you usually have a 30% that's based on an MCQ. It's open book, but is in essence an MCQ test that test the knowledge that you've learned on that module that we've taken you through. Okay, so each program, whether you're doing a cert, a dip, or an MSc, has a set number of modules. So for a certificate, that's done in 6 months' time, and then you've got 3 modules, all 6 weeks long. For diploma, it takes a year to do a diploma. That is 6 modules, all 6 weeks long, and then the MSc is a professional project at the end of it. Really important to say, our programs are end-to-end, pretty much designed by Learna, but actually they are UK university validated programs. So the degree that you come out with, which have got postnormals attached to them, are university validated. So you come out with a university accredited, a validated degree at the end of it, with letters after your name. But actually, your experience, for want of a better word, will be with Learna. So I hope that's been a useful kind of dip into kind of who Learna are, why we exist, and sort of what we do. And I kind of want to leave it there because I don't want to overwhelm you with too much information. But again, if you've got questions, please put them in the chat. But hopefully that's been useful.
Thank you so much, Anish. That was perfect. And as you've said, to all of our students that have just joined midway through, all of our guest speakers will remain throughout this this hour. So please, any questions at all, you can ask in the chat channel and we will be responsive in there and try and get through as many questions as possible. So thank you so much. Next up, we have got Andrew Stevens. Hi, Andrew. If you can lead us onto our next section. So you're going to discuss a little bit about how our students are going to be supported via their tutors and what that type of relationship will look like.
Yeah, definitely. So definitely welcome on board to everyone who's just joined and just who joined us at the very beginning as well. It's the first time I'm speaking. My name is Andrew Stevens. I'm the head of program management here at Learna, educational neuroscientist by background. So yeah, we're going to start by talking about kind of how you get supported in an online environment. I know it's a really big kind of worry for people who are joining an online environment where you are not sat in a classroom and you can't just walk across the hall and knock on your lecturer's door to kind of sit down and answer that question that's been burning in the back of your mind since the lecture. So how does that work in an online environment? Will you be disadvantaged at all? And we're here to say that, first of all, absolutely not. There are multiple methods of communication we have, not just with your tutors, but with kind of us as Learna and with your peers as well. And everyone in the entire ecosystem is there to support you. So What does that actually look like then? Well, as Anish has described, the main method of assessment, the main form of your learning is going to be through the academic forum. What is the academic forum? Well, I'm going to show you an example of what the academic forum looks like when we come on to do a little bit of the platform demo a little bit later. But essentially, your tutor is going to pose you a question and it's going to ask you to go away and do some research and come back with an answer to that question. So pose you an example. So your tutor poses a really difficult question. You go away, you read some research papers, and you come back with 10 questions, and you just don't understand how this works. How do you then ask those questions? Well, the first thing to do would be to respond in the academic forum, because that's going to be the best place for you to have that open discussion with your questions with your tutor. It's exactly the same as if you were in school, putting your hand up and asking a question. Everyone then in the discussion hears the questions that you've got. Your tutor is in the academic forum every single day, and they're going to be able to answer that question for you. But not just your tutors are in the academic forum, because your peers are in the academic forum with you as well. So they will also be there to support you and to answer any of those questions that you have. Okay, so we're not just building a learning environment around this one expert, but it's around all of your peers as well. The expert sits at the top, they're really important to this whole process, but it's everyone else around you as well that's there to really support you. So that's method number one. Method number two, Anish has spoken about the reflective journal. This is like your own little personal journal on how you think the course is going, how you're able to apply it to your day-to-day processes. And every time you write a reflective journal post, your tutor will respond to that reflective journal post. So in that reflective journal, you may feel like you've got a really important question to ask. You can put it at the end of your reflective journal. Your tutor will sit down with you, and then they will have that discussion with you in the reflective journal itself. Okay, so there's two fantastic ways. The third way, we have a direct messaging system within Moodle itself, the learning platform. So if you don't really want to put it in your reflective journal, you don't really want to put it into the academic forum, but you've got a burning question for your tutor, then you can drop them a private message. That will send them out, it'll give them a notification, your tutor will then log on and answer that question for you. So you can start to see we're building up all of these different communication pathways with your tutors in order to support you building a relationship with your tutor, because it's really important that you build up that strong relationship and that strong understanding of the topic with this subject matter expert that we're giving you. The feedback happens all the time. So within the academic forum, your tutor will be in the academic forum all the time, answering questions, giving feedback, saying, well done, but also challenging you, saying, oh, well, have you also thought about this? And what about this particular piece of evidence that's different to what you've tried to argue over here? In doing that, they're supporting your learning. They're deepening your understanding of the actual course materials. That will really, really support you with your understanding, but it will also support you with your ability to write academically and support you with your ability to construct cohesive arguments at a master's level, a level 7 standard. So yeah, the academic forum is the fantastic place where the majority of that feedback is going to come in. So Anish also mentioned that we have these module activities, which are, he's right, the most exciting part of the course. They're really engaging ways of you being able to present your knowledge and also your communication skills out to your tutors and your peers and everyone else who's involved in your module activity. Once those are marked by the tutors, then you will get personalized, individualized feedback on those particular pieces of work. And that will happen kind of after the end of the marking period, but before you start your next piece of work as well. So within that, you'll expect to see, okay, so you've been graded this particular grade. These are the reasons I've chosen to give you that grade. And here is what you can do to improve. So throughout the 3 or 6 or 8 modules that you're doing, depending on the level of course you're doing, you will always get that iterative advice on how you can make things better. That happens all throughout the entire course. So we don't have a door to knock on at the end of a lecture. We don't have lectures, But what we do have are multiple different webs of communication that you can send out, the ways that you can contact your tutor to get that feedback. We have all of the value you get from every single one of your peers who are also doctors or also nurses or other healthcare professionals who will be able to support you on your learning journey as well. Doing an online course can feel a little bit isolating. Sometimes it's late at night, you've had a busy day at work, you're sat in your office alone, the only person maybe for hundreds of miles around that's studying this particular course. We know that, and so we integrate all of these different communication methods, integrate all of these ways of communicating with each other to build that environment around you where you can really feel supported, okay? And so to illustrate that, we have multiple different ways that you can communicate with your peers as well. We encourage every single one of our students to join a WhatsApp group that has all of your peers in. We have multiple different, you can send private messages out to your peers as well. And loads of channels to communicate with us as Learna as well. So you can send us support emails, you can message us on WhatsApp, you can do all of that. And that's just a really good and effective way of building up that communication with all of the people around you. So you will be entirely supported throughout this process. And it may seem as though this might feel isolating. It's really not, because you join the wider Learner community, and that community is fantastic and incredibly active. So active to the point where because I'm on some of the WhatsApp groups, I have to sometimes mute them so that I can catch up on the messages later, because people are just constantly talking to each other, which is fantastic to see. So yeah, tutors are vital to the way that we learn. They are the people who present you with the questions. They are the people who prompt you to go into more detail on particular topics. They are our subject matter experts. They're all working doctors as well, or healthcare professionals within their particular area. And they know their subjects inside out, and every single one of them gets selected and vetted by us to make sure that they are the best people we can get to teach you your course as they can be. So that's basically everything I wanted to say about tutors there. Anish, do you have anything else you would like to add to that?
I don't think so. I think you should go for president, Drew, with that kind of speech. Goodness me. No, that was awesome. The only you said it, but just to reiterate one point is, our programs are predicated on the presence of an exceptionally good tutor, and I think I just kind of want to close by reassuring you that we have processes in place where we, set expectations and we ensure the quality of our tutors, as Drew has said, and the ongoing sort of performance of the tutors is exceptional. So we put a lot of effort into that, and so as Drew's outlined, the experience from a student perspective is predicated on the tutor. So we put a lot of work into that, and they really are really good individuals.
Excellent. Thank you so much both for that. Brilliant. Sarah, if it's okay, we're going to move on to you next for you to just explain a little bit about understanding our assessment and grading, if that's okay.
Thank you, Catherine. Yeah, hello there, welcome. I'm Sarah. I'm Learna's academic registrar. My team and I are responsible for quality assurance, essentially ensuring our programs are academically rigorous and fair while giving you the opportunity to flourish in a rich learning environment. Now, assessment can feel daunting, but at Learna, we've designed our assessment approach to support your learning journey, not just test it. Everything I'm going to talk about, from how we assess to how we mark, is built around three principles, and those are fairness, transparency, and your professional growth. Everything you need for your learning and assessments is available on the learning platform. You'll progress through your modules one by one, and each module will be set out in the same way so that you become familiar with the site as quickly as possible. Each module will have a set of assessments, and it has been said, for most that's 4 assessments per module, but for some there are fewer. These assessments are the academic forum, the module activity, a reflective journal, and an exam. You'll be contributing to both the academic forum and your reflective journal regularly throughout each module, and these are learning spaces as well as assessment spaces. The academic forum is where you'll engage with other students in your group as well as with your tutor. Importantly, the discussions in the academic forum are also your exam revision. The topics discussed each week form the basis of the multiple choice questions that you'll complete at the end of each module. The module activity, as had been said, will be different for each module and be worked on either individually or as a group, depending on the specific assignment, and submitted at the end of the module. So essentially, you have 2 components that you'll do the journey on throughout the 6 weeks of each module, and 2 components that are completed at the end of the module. So I want to walk you through what happens from the moment you start a module to when you get your results. Each module is 6 weeks long, and you can access it by 9:30 a.m. UK time on the first Monday. You will be able to see your tutor's first communication to you in the academic forum, and you can begin straight away engaging in formal discussions about that week's topics. You will also see what module activity has been set for that module. And as has been said, examples of these include creating a scientific poster or a presentation, or reviewing an article, or writing an abstract, and so on. There will also be a reflective journal component, which is a one-to-one space for your tutor, and you'll have access to the exam in the last week of the module. At the end of the module, when all the deadlines have passed, there's a marking period of approximately 20 working days. Now, I know this feels like a long time to wait for your results, but this time is essential to ensure your work is marked fairly and transparently in accordance with the marking rubric for each assignment. The marks and feedback given by your tutor are quality assured through a double marking process where a proportion of student work is marked twice. In addition, student work and marks are reviewed by each program's external examiner. These are academic and subject experts who are independent of Learna, appointed by the university to ensure consistency of standards across all universities. So you can be confident that multiple expert eyes have ensured your mark is fair and accurate. Once all these checks have been completed, your marks and feedback will be available to you in your online account. You'll receive a mark for each component type and an overall mark for your module. You will also receive formal feedback on your work and forward guidance for any areas that could be improved. We tell you what's working well, then give you a specific actionable guidance on how to strengthen your work. Feedback isn't just about justifying a grade, it's a learning tool to help you develop. I want to talk a bit more about the reflective journals, for which many of you might, this might be a new type of assessment, but it's actually one of the most valuable learning tools you'll use. The basics of them are you'll write 500 to 600 words a module, written in first person, as this is your story, your learning. What you write will link your academic forum weekly topics to your real professional practice, and you can keep adding to these reflections throughout the module. It's about writing little and often, about 100 words a week. Some weeks you'll have more to reflect on, others less. This isn't a last-minute essay assignment. It's an ongoing conversation with yourself about your learning. You'll be guided on how to structure these reflections. We provide you with proven reflective models to guide your thinking, frameworks like Gibbs reflective cycle or Driscoll's what, so what, now what model. You're not expected to figure out reflection on your own if it's not familiar to you. These models give you prompts to help you think critically about your experiences and plan for future improvement. And you can choose the model that works best for you. For example, you might learn about communication theories in your module, then reflect on how you handled a challenging conversation at work, what worked, what didn't, what you'd do differently next time. And the tutor might feed back along the lines of, you've made an excellent connection between social learning theory and your practice example. To deepen this analysis further, consider how organizational culture might have influenced the outcome. Notice how that sort of feedback points out what's strong, then gives you a clear direction for development. So what does make a strong reflection? Firstly, a clear response. What am I reflecting on? Why? Second, a connection to your module learning, bringing in theories or concepts or research. Thirdly, thoughtful analysis, not just this happened, but what does this mean? What surprised me? What challenged my thinking? And finally, application to practice. What will I do differently as a result? Although it will be the smallest component in each of your modules, reflective journals matter. Reflection is how professionals in all fields continue to grow, and keeping a journal makes your learning stick by connecting theory to what you actually do. It builds critical thinking skills that employers value and creates a personal record of your professional development. It's something you'll take away after your studies and keep on doing. That's the hope anyway. Remember, you're not doing this alone. Your tutor will guide you, you'll see examples, you'll receive feedback to help you develop and practice throughout your studies. These are skills we teach, not something you're expected to arrive knowing how to do. And that's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. That was really helpful. Thank you so much. Okay, Drew, over to you for our exciting Moodle demo.
Let's be honest, the only reason any of you are here is to take a look at Moodle, isn't it? So can I just have some confirmation that I'm sharing my screen correctly?
We can see your screen. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, this is the exciting part, guys. This is the demonstration of what the platform actually looks like, how it actually works, how you practical applications of basically everything that I've told you, that Anish has told you, and that Sarah has told you over the last half an hour that we've had. So I'm going to take a little bit of time to go through this. You'll see me kind of whizzing through, clicking different links and everything. You will get as practiced at this as I am. So if it feels like I'm just clicking lots of different things, don't worry too much. We have a fantastic onboarding training program that teaches you all of the stuff that we're going to talk about in a lot of detail. When you the week before you join the course is called our study skills package. So yeah, if you come along to that, you will have as good an understanding of the Moodle platform as I do. So let's get into it. We've already spoken about kind of the different assessment methods. They are presented to you right on the very front of this page. This is an example of medical education module 2. And this is a demo account as well, so you will see some people posting, but they're not real people, so don't worry about that. So we've got here the academic forum, the reflective journal, the module activity, and the end of module exam. Important to note at this point that there are some subjects that don't have an end of module exam. Their assessment breakdown that you can see up here will be slightly different. They are the outliers, though. Health economics is, no, it's not. Leadership is one of them. So yeah, if your course doesn't have an exam, then you probably won't have this box that says exam in it. We've then got an end of module survey, which you'll need to complete, and a space for your results as well. What you can see at the bottom of each of these boxes is we've got a little progress bar here, and that tells you how well you are doing. What are you doing the required amount of work every week in order to progress through the course and meet the minimum requirements. So you can see there's 2 things you need to do for the reflective journal. There's 7 things you need to do for the academic forum. There's 1 thing you need to do for the end of module exam. It's probably going to be sit the exam, isn't it? So let's start off by looking, what are these 7 things you need to do for the academic forum? So I click on that button and it brings me to this page. This page is just your constant reminder on what are the exact things that you need to be doing for the academic forum. Okay, so we've got some really good steps for you to understand how to respond to your tutor. And then if I click this button here, there's some steps for you on how to understand how to respond to your peers when you're in the academic forum. If we scroll down a little bit further, you can see then we've got an academic forum training box up here. This is a really good package that we've put together that helps you to understand every single component of the academic forum. I'm not going to go through that today because there's quite a lot in it, and we don't have enough time to go through that today. But instead of going through that, I'm just going to show you what actually happens. So you can see week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, and week 6. So every single week of the module is laid out for you right here, and with its weekly titles on what you're going to be looking at in those particular weeks. This is where your learning is going to happen within the academic forum. So if I hover over on this completion criteria here, it says you must post 4 replies. Okay, so that means that every single week you have to post 4 times, and that is our minimum expectation for the academic forum. If I click then into the academic forum, there's a few really fancy things that I want to point out. First of all, this section here, the reading list. We give you a whole bunch of reading materials, and you can see there's scenario 1, scenario 2, and scenario 3. I am going to give no points to anyone who can guess how many scenarios we're going to ask you every single week. It's probably going to be 3, right? So I said to you before, you post 4 times, there are 3 scenarios, okay? So that means one of those scenarios you're going to have to do 2 responses to. Well, earlier I mentioned about direct responses and peer responses. So within the academic forum, what we're trying to do is not just get you to answer the question that your tutor asks, but also get you to talk to your peers. I said about community earlier, but the real essence of the community is within this academic forum, where you're talking to your peers about the problems that you've faced when doing research. You're talking to them about, in my country, actually, injections are only recommended once every 6 weeks, whereas in this other person's country, they're recommended once every 4 weeks. Why is there that difference? Why have 2 different countries recommended different amounts? What's the evidence for that? Let's have a discussion about that. Let's see if we can come to a consensus as a group. And that won't be just directed by your tutor. That will be directed by your peers, by the people who are on the course with you. Learning this way really supports the neural connections in your brain. It really leads to an incredibly deep understanding of the topics, because you're not only recalling information, absorbing that information from our recommended reading materials, from our videos, from our directed teaching materials, but you're also then challenging other people's ideas, getting into a bit of an academic debate with your peers about exactly what the evidence is for something, why the evidence is there, how good the evidence is, all of those level 7 skills that you need to be able to be successful. So let's take a look inside. We'll go for week 1, scenario 2. Okay, so like I said before, there are 3 scenarios. Each scenario is going to be posted by your tutor, and it will contain a little bit of blurb, a case scenario if it's a medical course. This obviously is not a medical course because it's medical education. So in this one, it's just a little bit of an introduction. Medical courses, we will present you a case. Non-medical courses, that's a little bit more difficult to do. So this one's just a discussion. And then followed by between 1 to 5 questions. Okay, this one says, which learning and teaching theories might be particularly useful to explore in this group? Okay, now I have chosen a really bad one here because, as you can see, there's no one who's actually responded to this post. So I'm just going to go back a sec and we're going to open up scenario 1 where there are responses. Here we go. So this one you can see we've asked 2 separate questions. Okay, so on the first day of your job, a cardiologist asks you what's meant by learning and teaching theory. How would you respond? But down here, you can see that someone has created a response. Okay, so when asked to define learning and teaching theory, here's what I will say. Oh, look, there's a little reference at the bottom there. And then they've gone on to explain that a little bit more. They're using academic voice. They are referencing everything they're saying. and they've got a list of references down here at the bottom. So that is the core foundation of the academic forum. The tutor asks you a question, you go away, you do that research, you bring your answers back using academic language, using referencing. Then we've got a peer response beneath it. And this is a student who's come in and said, oh yeah, I agree with you on Noel's andragogy. In my experience, medical students are much more motivated when they see immediate relevance to patient care. So here you can see, in my experience, they're taking some of their own experience that they have within their professional field, and they're applying it to the academic forum. This is going to create for a much deeper learning experience because you're relating it back to your personal experience. I also appreciate your link to Cobb Cycle. I've tried applying this in lab-based teaching by ensuring students not only practice but reflect on their errors. It makes the learning experience more powerful and more memorable. So not just what you've said is good, but here's an extension to what you've said as well. And this is what we're looking for within peer responses is, this is great, here is something else as well. So you're starting those kind of conversations with your tutors, and with your peers. This is what makes our learning super duper effective, okay? Having those conversations with your peers, being able to explore these ideas, being able to interact with a wider community from around the globe is really, really, really good for you and for your learning. And as you can see, this goes on for a little bit, and this is just a demo. Some of these pages get incredibly long because people are having really in-depth discussions, and they can find that actually they post all of 4 of their posts come from just one discussion. So that's the actual format of the academic forum, but how do we help you? Well, as we've said, we've got lists of reading to start to guide you along your journey. We have a massive library function for you to be able to go away and do literature searching. We recommend different sources of AI-supported research as well for you. And we have this thing up here, the Learna AI Tutor. Now, this is a bespoke AI that we have developed that will support you in your academic writing. Okay, so I am a little bit concerned. I've not really interacted with that many other teaching and learning professionals before. I'm not sure if the answer that I'm putting up is the right answer. Well, if you click on this, it'll take you out to an AI, and you can post your response in the AI, and the AI will say, actually, no, this is a good response. Maybe to make it better, you could do X, Y, Z. Okay, and we've developed that specifically for Learner students, so it knows our marking rubrics, it knows how we work, and it can give you really specific directed advice that will support you in your learning journey and just take away some of that anxiety about making your first post or continuing on with a conversation. So that's the academic forum. I am racing through this, guys, because I've only got 15 minutes. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. I will be in there, and our student services reps are in there as well to answer any questions you've got. Reflective journal, there's not much to see in here really. The reflective journal is a space for you to be able to write your reflections, okay? So if I open up this button, as you can see, we give you training again, like you're going to see this repeated in all of our modules, we give you training. As you open up this section here, this is where you will post your responses. It says grade here, but that's because I'm logged in as an administrator. For you guys, it will say submit. And you can see up here, again, we've got the Learner AI Tutor. This one is actually slightly different. This one is specifically for the reflective journal. So we've got the one for the academic forum and for the module activity, which is the one I showed you before. This one is, oh, I've never really done reflective practice before. How do I make sure that what I'm writing is going to get me the best grade possible? We've got this AI tutor here. You can put your responses into this tutor, and it will say, you've done a fantastic job. Actually concentrate on X, Y, Z, and that will get you an even better grade. Okay. If you do that alongside the marking rubric, which you can see is also linked at the top there for you, then you will be able to produce a work that will be of distinction standard. And that's the same across all of our modules. We give you all of the information you need to be successful. So yeah, just follow that and you will be able to get a distinction with our courses. Important to note at this point that, like I said at the very beginning, this is a fantastic place for you guys to communicate with your tutors. So your tutors will be in here offering you feedback, starting discussions with you within the reflective journal section. So we're not just 100% relying on AI at all. Your tutor is in here, they are supporting you, but we use kind of the AI as an extra little kind of security blanket, just so you can make sure that you're getting the best results you possibly can do. So the next one is going to be module activity. I'm going to take you to it through a slightly different way, just to show you some of the better ways that you can navigate through Moodle. I'm just going to click on this button here for module activity. Okay, and that takes me into this particular assignment. So this is a type of module activity that actually hasn't been discussed before. This is what we call a peer review. So in this particular module activity, because it's education focused, we want you to practice marking. So here's some work, go and mark it. And it's all of the work that your peers have made throughout the entire module. Okay, this is one of the more complicated module activities that we do. We have loads of others, like we've already discussed, like poster presentations, like narrated presentations, like essays, like blog posts, like all of that. But this one, yeah, this one is specifically about marking. And I think this is really important because what it shows is that we've actually sat down and thought about what these module activities are and how do they apply to the profession that you're going into. Okay, so this one is about medical education. So here's some practice marking before you actually go out and have to do marking for real. You can see that there is an actual assignment brief at the top and then a whole bunch of extra resources there to explain exactly what's happening. This one is a little bit on the short side. Normally, I would expect this yellow box here to be much bigger. And it will also at the bottom contain a link. And in that link, we'll have a huge amount of support and advice on how to go about completing the specific assignment you have been asked to do. That's the module activity. We now have the end of module exam as the final assessment component that you will have within Moodle. So what is our end of module exam? So our end of module exam is a 30-question, hour-long multiple choice question exam, or MCQ exam. Okay, so we give you an hour to answer 30 questions, 2 minutes per question. You will read a case scenario and then you'll be best answer out of 5. Okay, so you say, okay, there's potential 5 options here. Which one's the best? Click that, click next. Okay, you will find the majority of our exams will be proctored. So there will be people or robots watching you do the exam, just to make sure that you are the right person to actually do the exam and to stop any accusations of cheating from happening. It's an exam. I'm not entirely sure how much more there is to say about it. All of the revision comes from the academic forum. Perfect. So that is, in a nutshell, what Moodle is. That is, in a nutshell, how you will interact with it on a day-to-day basis, okay? And we do recommend, we say little and often. So can you spare 15 minutes today to go into the academic forum to see what other people have written? Even if you're just reading and not responding yourself, even if you're just reading what your peers have written, that's good enough. And then you know that actually you're going to write on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, because that's when your particular tutor posts their questions. So you extend your time on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Maybe you spend half an hour, 2 hours doing some research and doing some writing on those days. And then at the end of the week, you're like, okay, I've got half an hour then to write my reflective journal and another maybe half an hour to spend improving my module activity. And if you're able to do that, you're able to complete some of our courses. That is Moodle in a nutshell then. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Andrew. And as you touched base, it's a lot to try and fit in, isn't it, within a quick 15-minute demo. However,
Definitely.
we have got a fantastic study skills week, haven't we? Which really encourages our students to get used to the navigation.
Yeah, definitely. All of that, those training activities that I showed you at the beginning of every module. So even if you forget something, all of that information is there for you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, we're doing really well for time, which is fantastic. So we're going to move on now to Melissa and Chris. You guys are going to run through the admission process with our students. Over to you.
That's right. I think Melissa is going to introduce herself first before I go through the program.
Hello everyone, my name is Melissa and I'm the Senior Admissions Officer. I will be here to guide you through the application process. If you have any questions about the course or need support at any stage of the process, you are welcome to contact me via email or WhatsApp, or you can arrange a call. My aim is to make your application experience as smooth and as straightforward as possible. I look forward to supporting you. And now it's over to Chris.
Thank you, Melissa. You can see my screen now. I've seen some questions in the chat that I just want to address first of all. So I've seen some questions about the graduation process and who will issue your degrees. I just want to emphasize that the universities we partner with, the University of Buckingham and the University of South Wales, these will be the universities that will issue your degree. So you will receive your postgraduate qualification directly from either the University of Wales or the University of Buckingham. And also, I think it was Nicole that was asking about would that every single level of qualification. So we have 3 different levels. We've got the postgraduate certificates, which are 6 months. We've got the postgraduate diplomas, which are 1 year, and we've got the master's qualification. All of these will be issued directly by UK universities. So these are recognized in the UK and are also recognized all around the world. And I think it was Ahmed as well that was asking about will you be invited to a graduation ceremony? So the universities in question, the University of Buckingham, the University of South Wales, they will both invite to a physical graduation ceremony. Now, you don't need to attend this. This is not a requirement to get your degree or your qualification, but it is a chance just to celebrate your success, and we will be there with you throughout the ceremony as well. So this is really just an opportunity for me to highlight, and for those of you that haven't yet completed your application, it's just a chance to highlight some issues that maybe you will have while you so when you start your application, when you click apply now, you will be transferred to our application portal. So the first stage in the application portal here, after you complete your personal details, will be your personal statement. For your personal statement, I think the only issue is that you don't have to write an essay. Medical professionals do tend to write a lot. In this stage, you don't have to. All we're looking for really is for you to answer these 3 questions. So why do you want to follow the program? What do you hope to gain from the program? And what do you want to do after you complete your. If you can answer these 3 questions in 7 to 8 lines, that's perfectly fine. But we really don't need a long essay. If you want, that's perfectly fine. We do look forward to reading it, but it's not required. The requirement here is that you meet 500 characters, 500 letters. It's not 500 words. We do have a lot of students that tend to delay the application because they want the perfect statement. We are going to be looking at your qualifications and your other sections as well. So the next section is the qualification section. I'm sure most of you, and I'm sure all of you, are aware that all our courses are postgraduate courses, so we do need an undergraduate degree, and that will be your MBBS certificate, your nursing degree, your pharmacy degree, or another relevant healthcare degree. I think there are three things here to highlight that might be useful. First, generally, we don't need your degree certificate. So we only need your degree certificate, apologies. So we generally don't need anything else. So your transcript or an award letter or a diploma supplement, generally we won't need these. As long as you have your degree certificate, that is completely fine. Second, do a translation here. At the moment, generally, if your degree is not in English, then we don't need a translation. I know a lot of applicants do pause the application because they're getting their documents translated. Now, save your money, save your time, upload your original language certificate. If we need translation, we will let you know. Secondly, if your name, your surname, is different on your degree certificate to your application name, we will need proof of this name change. I think this is usually because of marriage. So in this case, for example, all we would need would just be a marriage certificate, which you can upload with your degree certificate. Finally, please do not worry too much labels here about the qualification level, the qualification outcome. We will be looking at the document directly. So if you can't find the exact level or the exact description of your document, upload anyway. We will be looking directly at the document. For the work experience section, I think this is fairly self-explanatory. If you're a medical professional, your current position or your recent position, if you are applying for a degree that maybe is outside your speciality, maybe you're a physiotherapist that wants to apply for maybe a neurology degree or something that maybe is a little bit outside your expected profession, then please do in the job description, leave a good idea of the link between your previous experience and the course you are applying for. And next we will go on to the reference, and we'll come back to the English section in a second. So for the references, all we need is just the name and email address and phone number of your referees. This doesn't have to be your line managers or a manager. It can be a colleague, somebody that works with you. That's perfectly fine. And something to note is that as soon as you enter the details, an automatic email will be sent to your referee with an online reference form for them to complete. We don't wait until the application has been submitted. So maybe as soon as you enter the details here, just give them a quick message, just say to expect an email from us. I think that will be the quickest way. And something to note as well is that we ask for 2 or 3 referees, but we don't need 2 or 3 responses. We just need 1 response. So we do ask for more than 1 because it is quicker. We want to help you get the response as quickly as possible. We only need 1 response. And I will move on now to the English section. So the English section is probably the most feared section of our application. It's the section we get the most questions about, but we do try to make this section as hassle-free as possible. So as you've heard from our previous speakers, we do partner with 2 separate UK universities. Now their English requirements are slightly different, but there are important similarities. So for this section, for both universities, the University of South Wales and the University of Buckingham, if you're a national, of a native English-speaking country, or a member of a medical organization of one of these countries, or if you have a degree from one of these countries, then you don't need to provide any English documents at all. You can just click for English. Is English your first language? Yes, it is. A quick clarification here. Native English-speaking countries means those that are on the UK visa immigration list. So that's the US, it's Canada, it's New Zealand, Australia, Ireland, and some Caribbean countries as well. Unfortunately, it does not include India or Pakistan or Nigeria or Kenya or a lot of other countries where we know that when you do your medical degree, you do this in English. However, for both universities, we do have a solution. So if you studied your degree in English from any country in the world, then we can accept a letter from your university confirming that you were taught in English. As long as the letter is on letter-headed paper, so it's an official letter, and it's signed or stamped by the university, we can accept this. Now, I know a lot of you maybe have been doctors for 10 years or 20 years and think this letter is difficult to get, but we do have experience where doctors from Nigeria or India or Pakistan, they've graduated for maybe 20 years. All that you need to do, send an email to your university requesting this letter, confirming you were taught in English, and generally they can provide it quite quickly. Now, there is one specific exemption. If your course is with the University of South Wales and you have a degree from a Commonwealth country, so the countries we've discussed just there, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, you generally won't need an English letter. We can accept your degree from a Commonwealth country as proof of your English letter. And I think that will be most of you listening now in the chat. Unfortunately, at the moment, the University of Buckingham doesn't use this exemption. So if your course is with Buckingham, then please just do request that letter. Like I say, it generally doesn't need a lot of time. 2 to 5 days is generally the turnaround from the universities in this case. Now, if you can't get any of these documents, then both universities, the University of South Wales and the University of Buckingham, they do accept certain high school documents. So if you are applying, for example, for the University of Buckingham and you have an Indian 12th and English grade, or you have a exam from the West African Examinations Council and you have a good grade, then we may be able to accept these qualifications for your English. If you don't have any of these that I've listed above, then both universities, the University of South Wales and the University of Buckingham, they do accept online English tests. So we're not really recommending that you take IELTS or TOEFL because I know from experience these tests are quite difficult to take. You have to go in person. You have to spend a lot of time preparing. So generally, we can accept an online English test. And the important point to remember is just to upload the document you have for this section. I'm not going to reject you on a technicality. So if you click here, your English language, maybe it's not your first language, no. There's a list of tests we can accept, but also there's a to say that your competency is pending. So if you're not sure, click this box and submit this section. We're not going to reject you entirely. What we will do is we'll go through each section and approve the other sections, and then we'll send you an email for this section or the section you have an issue with, saying that we require further documents. And we will be with you throughout the entire process. So once you create your account, we will contact you by phone, by WhatsApp, by email to help you choose the right documents and acceptance letter as quickly as possible, so you can take advantage of the early bird discount, which I'm sure now Kath will go through in detail.
Thank you for that, Chris. I think maybe we may have lost you a little bit in between there. So for our students that couldn't quite hear properly, any questions you have, again, please use the chat channel. We will add our email address in the chat. So if you've got any questions at all, or if you want to speak to one of our admissions team, then please email us in and we're more than happy to go through the application process with you. Or if there are any specific questions that you've got, we can take that offline and help you. So moving on over to Anna, who was our student support manager. Anna, you're going to discuss a little bit about the support that our students will receive once they're enrolled.
Yes, thank you very much, Kath. Appreciate that. Hello, everyone. It's lovely to be here with you today. Like I said, I'm Anna, and I'm part of the student support team at Learna. I know for many of you, starting a postgraduate study feels really exciting, but also a little bit daunting too, especially if you're balancing work, family life, everything else that comes with that. So to provide some clarity, I'd like to give you a clear picture of what support looks like at Learna before you start, during your course, and when you finish. That is how we value your enrollment, and when you study with us, we will be there all the way. So what happens before you start? Before your first module even begins, our support is already in place. Our admissions and enrollment team guides you through every step of joining, from confirming your place to helping you understand how the online working system works. We know many of students have studied formally and they haven't studied formally in a while, so we focus on making that transition as smooth and as approachable as possible for you. You'll get an induction and guidance on what to expect next. This is called the Get Set for Success program. Completing this, you will feel welcomed, you will be welcomed, you'll know the faculty and format of the program, the important dates, some university resources, and also you'll find some alumni success stories in there. This is the early stage, and this is all to prepare you for your studies, making sure you feel welcomed, informed, and equipped to succeed. Now, what happened during the course? Once you begin your studies, that's when student services becomes your day-to-day support. You have student services officers who act as your first point of contact for every non-academic query. That might mean help with time management, balancing your studies with work and family life, or just some reassurance that what you're doing is right and you're on the right path. For those days when you feel a little bit overwhelmed, just reach out to us. If you're unsure who to connect, we will guide you, whether that's your tutor or whether that's for academic support. Just reach out to us. We will guide you in the right direction. We often tell students you don't need to know all the answers. You just need to know where to ask. And that's exactly what we're here for. So regarding academic and technical support, on the academic side, you'll have dedicated tutors and module leads who will provide feedback, guide your learning, and help you develop postgraduate level skills in research, analysis, and critical thinking. They're here to help you go beyond memorizing information, but to challenge critical thinking, ask better medical questions, and grow you as a professional. For technical support, reach out to us. It is just an email away to help with loggings, access issues, or anything that might get in the way of a smooth study experience. We want you to focus on your learning and not always on troubleshooting in technology. We're also here to support your well-being. Now, one of the things we care most about in student services is well-being. At Learna, we take a holistic approach, supporting the whole student, not just their grades. We recognize that our learners are often healthcare professionals, business leaders, or parents managing demanding schedules. And when challenges arise, whether it's illness, work pressure, personal difficulties, we support you in finding solutions. That could mean helping you request an extension, adjust your workload, or simply having someone to talk to when things get tough, reminding you of the reasons why you enrolled in this program and the goal that you want to reach. We genuinely believe success shouldn't come at the cost of well-being. Our role is to make sure you can progress confidently without feeling alone or overwhelmed, as mentioned previously as well. We genuinely believe success shouldn't come at feeling like a burnout or I can't do this anymore. You get those days, but that's why we've got an excellent support team that will support you in those critical times. And even though it's fully online, you never study in isolation. We've mentioned this before as well, because it's very important. It is really happening that students feel like that. We have our discussion forums where you can raise your feelings. You can reach out to us, to your tutor privately. We connect with the students across the world. And it's valuable to learn from everyone's feelings, how they experience it, and how they overcome those barriers. So what happens then after you finish? Our support team doesn't stop when your final module grades are out. You'll join the Learna Alumni Network, where you can continue learning, share career opportunities, and stay connected with peers and your faculty. We love hearing from our graduates and how they apply what they've learned, improving healthcare around the world, which is our main aim with Learna. Our culture and our values. Before I close, I want to share a little bit about Learna's culture, because it shapes everything we do, how we support each other, how we teach, how we care for our students. Our values are captured in the support we deliver. One of them is collaboration, and that's to achieve more together. Every voice matters and every contribution counts. The next one is respect for our students, our partners, because the way we treat each other, whether it's our colleagues or patients, that's important and what we achieve. So it's not just about what you know, but it's also how you are perceived by your colleagues and your peers and your student mates. Empowerment, to lead without their role and additional medical awareness through our programs. We empower our students to be better medical professionals. Dedication to care, showing up, delivering excellence. And finally, the outcomes that remind us that success is measured by impact on our students, on our patients, and the wider world. At Learna, being good at your job isn't enough. How we do it matters as much as what we do. We act with honesty, professionalism, and empathy. That is what creates the positive, supportive culture you'll experience as a student, one that celebrates collaboration and compassion as much as achievement. So to summarize, at Learna, you supported every step of your journey. Before, during, and after you finish, you remain part of the global network that continues to share, grow, and support each other. Thank you so much for learning. That's
Lovely.
all.
Thank you so much, Anna. Right, okay, we've come to the end of our session. Thank you so much to all of our amazing students for attending. It's been really nice of you to be able to join us today, so we really appreciate that. There is a few questions in the chat channel about the draw, which is exciting. So just to be clear, the draw runs out at the end of November. Everybody that's attended today that has been accepted, you will be automatically entered into our draw, and our lovely marketing team will pick a student at random on the 1st of December and let you know who the lucky winner is. So just to reiterate the dates, we are currently working towards our next cohort, which is in March, and our start date is the 9th of March. Our early bird runs out the end of November, which I believe is next Sunday. So in order to get any early bird discounts, just make sure you get your application in, you get accepted, and then you pay your deposit by next Sunday. If you pay your deposit by next Sunday, you will receive a discount off your final payment. If you're applying for one of our PG certs, you will receive £250 off. If you're applying for a PG dip over the 12 months, that's £500, and our MSc is a whopping £1,000. So any other questions, please email in. Good luck to everybody. We can't wait to have you join us in March. We look forward to it. And thank you again so much for joining us.